Hare Krishna. Dear friends, I'm sorry I interrupted my broadcast. Someone knocked on the door, so I will continue now. So we were looking into verse 26, where Krishna says that the mind is mentioned that we should not disrupt the mind of people who are attached to fruitive results, but show them by example how all kinds of work can be purified by engaging them in devotional service or engaging the results in devotional service. Then in the 40th verse of the chapter 30, also the mind is mentioned, and Krishna says that the senses, the mind and the intelligence are the sitting places of the lust. So lust is described as the most formidable enemy of the conditioned soul. So lust is actually pushing us to try to enjoy in a sinful way, and sinful enjoyment brings suffering, brings reactions. So lust is energy that covers the original, real, spiritual knowledge of the living entity and bewilders the living entity. And many, even great personalities, were bewildered by sense gratification, bewildered by lust, and we see that the power of lust is enormous. So the material energy is very difficult to overcome, and one can only overcome it if one takes shelter of Krishna. Daivim prakritim ashritaha, Bhagavad Gita says. Take shelter of my divine energy. Take shelter of my divine energy. Durashaya is described. Durashaya means very, very strong, very powerful, very hard. So material energy is impossible to overcome without taking shelter of Krishna. We cannot overcome it by austerities, we cannot overcome it by knowledge. Everybody is disturbed by the desire to enjoy matter in different forms, in various forms, in the form of the opposite sex, in the form of food, in the form of other sense objects. So we never tell people stop working, we just tell people, please try to change your consciousness and to work for God, to work in devotion, to spiritualize your activities, to offer the fruits of your activities to Krishna. Okay? So next verse it describes the position, relative position of the senses, the mind, intelligence, and so on. And Krishna says, the working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence. So this gradation, what is higher, also indicates which of these is more powerful. So the soul is more powerful than the intelligence. Intelligence is more powerful than the mind. The mind is more powerful than the senses, and the senses are superior to dull matter. But there can be opposite influence where the senses influence the mind influences the intelligence, and the intelligence becomes bewildered, and then the degradation is happening. So the most powerful is the soul, but when the soul is covered with material energy, then the soul is bewildered, confused, and identifies with the body and thinks that he can be happy by enjoying matter and material relationships. So at the end of the 3rd chapter, Krishna concludes, thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, almighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. So now here we have many points in this verse, in this last verse of the chapter 3, and chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita is called Karma Yoga. It's called Karma Yoga. So we need to understand that we are transcendental to the senses, transcendental to the mind, and transcendental even to the intelligence. So the soul is above all these three. And Krishna is here making a statement that I think he's encouraging Arjuna again, and even maybe challenging Arjuna, because he calls him mighty armed. Arjuna, you have mighty arms, you are a mighty warrior, but you have become weak. You can become weak. Your mind has become weak. Your heart, Hridaya Dorbalyam, your heart has become weak. And how he suggests that he should get out of this? By deliberate spiritual intelligence. And what is deliberate spiritual intelligence? It's actually Krishna consciousness. Consciousness of God, consciousness of our relationship with God, consciousness of our duty in relation to God, consciousness that God is the supreme enjoyer, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshmaram, Sukhridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. God is the supreme enjoyer. He is enjoyer of all austerities and all sacrifices. Bhokta means enjoyer. And this kind of consciousness is also called spiritual strength. And only by spiritual strength one can conquer this insatiable enemy, this formidable enemy, this most difficult enemy, this greatest enemy known as lust. So it's good, when we were studying the mind from the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, studying about the mind, then we actually want to know where the mind is situated, how the mind is affected, and Srila Prabhupada explains that lust has taken strategic position in the existence of the conditioned soul, in their body and mind, and in this way the lust controls the conditioned souls, or material energy Maya controls the conditioned soul through lust. So next, what we will discuss next time is starting from chapter 4. So we are going slowly through these verses. I'm continuing to compile all the verses. There is about between 60 and 65 verses, I think, that mention the mind, or the words related to the mind. And in this way we have, I call them GMT, Gita Mind Tools. Gita Mind Tools. Krishna is giving powerful tools for controlling the mind and for engaging the mind in spiritual activities, in devotional service of the Lord. And we are offering to our listeners we are offering actually this knowledge and short explanations. So thank you very much for listening, and all the best. I wish you a wonderful day, and see you next time.